Hi everyone, Salesforce Integration Training, day 23. Today's agenda is we'll see how can we integrate the Salesforce with AWS S3 integration and how to do the setup of AWS account. And once we create the AWS account, so how can we create a S3 bucket in the AWS and what are the steps to implement the integration? And also I'll provide the referral documentation. Now, today we are going to see Salesforce and AWS S3 integration. So from the Salesforce, we will be sending a request to the AWS S3 bucket. We will be sending a request to the AWS, and from the AWS, we will be receiving the responses. So we are going to implement a integration between the Salesforce and Amazon Web Service S3. So basically, today is, if I go to the page, so in the page, let's see, this is a Salesforce, okay? So I assume that this is the Salesforce account. This is Salesforce. In the Salesforce, we have a different objects. We have a different objects, like we have an account object, account, contact, lead, what are the objects we have? If I go to the any of the object, whether it is an account, contact, or a lead, opportunity, what are the object? If I go in that object, I could see that there is a related list. If I go to the related list, maybe actually you need to reconnect it if you are not able to see my screen. So if I go to the account, in the account, let's go to the related list. And if I click on the related list, we have a nodes and attachment. We have a nodes and attachment. So whatever the file we are uploading in the nodes and attachment. So what are the file we upload in the Salesforce? Upload the file, whether it is a CSV file, whether it is a image file, JPG file, whatever the file we are updating it. So that file we will be moving to the AWS, basically S3 bucket. So for example, I'm updating the file here, which is a .csv or maybe a PDF file or maybe image, right? So we have a different ways of uploading the files into the Salesforce. And the other side, we have a AWS. This side, we have a AWS. In the AWS, we can create a S3 bucket. S3 bucket. So basically, this S3 bucket is going to hold all the images. This is S3 bucket. In S3 bucket, especially S3 bucket is for the storing the different type of files. Storing the different type of files, I can store it into the S3 bucket. So what we will be doing is, as a first step, I'll be implementing the, first I'll be creating the AWS account. First, I'll be creating the AWS account. Once the AWS account is created, then we will be creating the S3 bucket. Within the AWS, we will be creating the S3 bucket. So once the S3 bucket is created, then the third step is we need to generate an authentication key in the AWS. I need to generate an authentication key. So this is the third step. Once these steps are done in the AWS, these steps are done in the AWS, then from the Salesforce side, either you take an account or a contact or a lead, whichever the object it might be. Whenever we load the images in the file, it will be stored into the one object. It will be stored into the one object. We will talk about that object. So there is a one dedicated object which all the files will be stored here. all the files will be stored here. And this object, whatever the data is, file is uploaded in any of this nodes and attachment, those all data will be stored into the another object. So we will be implementing a business logic by using the Apex class. So in the Apex class, now I'll be implementing this Apex class. Through this Apex class, what we will be doing is whenever there is a file is uploaded into the account or contact or a lead, basically in this object, whenever there is a file is inserted, right? So that data I'll be querying it, and then we will be sending that data to the S3 bucket. So once this file is uploaded successfully into the S3 bucket, then S3 bucket will give us the response back saying that it is successfully uploaded into the S3 bucket. So this scenario in the real time, we will do it. So where we will do it, we have a marketing application or a communities. In the communities, what we will do is B2C, business to customer. In that case, for example, let's take an example of Amazon. Let's take an example of Amazon. Now, in the Amazon, we will be showing all the products, right? So whenever we are showing all the products in the Amazon, first we need to show the image of that product. First, we need to show the image of that product. So that image from where we are getting it, all the images are stored into the Amazon S3 bucket. All the images are stored into the S3 bucket. From this S3 bucket, once it is stored here, I can give it from the Salesforce, right? From the Salesforce, I can give a field which is going to refer the file, that is exist into the S3 bucket. So that URL, if I specify, whenever this data is loaded onto the Amazon website, automatically it will refer the S3 bucket, and what are the images are available in the S3 bucket, it will display. Right? It could be a digital marketing, it could be a digital marketing, or it could be any community cloud. Is my voice is clear? Are you guys able to hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Hello.
Is my voice is clear?
Yes, it's clear.
Okay. So probably Shubham, you need to reconnect it. So here, so this is the how the images I'll be displaying. So usually in the Salesforce, we have a digital communities, right? So e-commerce. So for that, we will be getting the details and displaying onto the front end user interface. On the user interface, I can show all the images from the S3 bucket. So that's the real-time scenarios, that how we use it, all the images, where we can store it, all the images I can store it into the S3 bucket, because S3 bucket is safe, and from the S3 bucket, I can load here, right? So that is the scenario. Now, the first step as part of this, now what are the steps to implement? What are the steps to implement an integration? Now for AWS, the first step is I need to set up the AWS account. I need to set up AWS account. Then I need to create a bucket, which is a S3 bucket. And then I need to generate a access key and a security key in the AWS. And we need to use that S3 bucket, AWS S3 bucket. We need to use it into the Salesforce. So this is the configuration in the AWS side. Now, once this configuration is done, from the Salesforce side, I'll be creating the Apex class to invoke the AWS S3, and then for that, I'll be creating the remote site settings. These two are need to be done from the Salesforce side. Now, let's see the first setup AWS account. For setting up the AWS account, you can create a free account for 30 days. You can create a free account for 30 days. So if you search AWS free tier, so you can click on this. If you click on this first link, it will display this image. So it will be redirected to this image. If you click on Amazon Web Service, get free trial account, it will be redirected to this page. On this page, either you click on this create a free account. If you are already done the half of the setup, then it will display the complete sign. Otherwise, it will display here create a free account. First time it will display the create a free account. So there are almost 5 to 6 steps we have to do it. In case out of 5 to 6 steps, if you have done only 2 steps you have completed and rest of the 3 steps are pending. In that case, it will show here complete the sign. Complete sign up. Otherwise, if you are creating for the first time, here it will show as a create a free account. So either click on a create a free account here or here, or if you are already done the 2 steps, it will display the complete sign up. So this is the first screen. Now once I click on this create a free account, it will open up and it will ask you, it will be redirected to this page and it will ask you to enter the email address. Provide a valid email address. Which is working email address. Provide that. So you need to enter the email address. Then AWS account name. You can give any account name. It's just a name that you wanted to see it onto the AWS account. So you can enter any AWS account. Then click on this verify email address. In case if you have already have an account, then simply click on here sign into an existing AWS account. Click on this sign into an existing AWS account. So let's assume that we are entering the email address, account name. I click on the verify email address. Then it will be redirected to the new page where once you click on this verify email address, you will be receiving an email from the Salesforce, from the AWS. You will be receiving an email from the AWS. So that email is basically, so this is the email you will be receiving it. It will send a verification code. So this is the email, you will receive it from the AWS. So once you receive it, you need to, so before that we need to provide a password. And click on this continue, step 1 to 5. Then you will receive an email and enter the verification code here. Once you enter the verification code, click on a verify. So if it is a verified, your email address is correct, then it is going to ask you to enter the password. So from here, there are 5 steps are there. Till now, it was a email verification. Whatever the first screen and the second screens are there, those are just cross verifying whether you have entered the valid email address or not. If it is a valid email address, then it will be redirected to the enter the password. And from here, it will continue the 5 steps. This is the first screen of the out of the 5. Now, once you enter these details, click on this continue. And it is going to ask you to enter few more details about you. So first thing, it will ask you to contact information. Now, this information, how do you plan to use the AWS? Are you planning for a business purpose or are you planning for a personal? So if you are doing it for the practice, always go for a personal. If you are working in a real-time project, then we will be using the business. And enter the full name. So whatever the full name is there, just specify the full name and provide the phone number. Phone number has to be valid phone number. Do not give any invalid. It has to be a valid phone number. Whether it is a United States or United Arab or India, whatever it is. So just specify the correct phone number and specify the here code, which is relevant, and specify the region. And after that, we need to provide the address and city. Then we need to provide the state, provision, postal code. And once we are done with the postal code, then you need to click on check this. I have read and agreed the terms of the AWS customer agreement. Once you enable that, you will be able to, there is a one more button, it will ask you to click on continue step 2 of a file. So that means first step is a password, second step is the contact information. Provide the valid phone number and provide the PIN code. Okay, so and these all details are, it's mandatory to provide it. And the next one, it is going to ask you the credit card or a debit card details. Next, it will ask you to credit card or a debit card details. So the reason it is asking here, it's just for a same, okay? So it will not deduct any amount. There won't be any deduction on the amount because we are creating the free account. So when you searched in the Google, you are searching in the Google as a AWS free tab. So where we are creating it, we are creating a AWS free account. But it will just ask you to enter the credit card and debit card details, but it won't be detected any amount. Amount will not be detected because we will not be entering any CVV or any PIN numbers we are not entering. We are just providing the credit card or a debit card details. So provide the valid credit card and debit card details. If you provide an invalid credit card or debit card details, it will not take. Because there is some integration which is implemented in the AWS. Whenever we enter the incorrect credit card or a debit card number, it immediately says that this is not a valid credit card number or a valid debit card number. And next, provide the expiration date of that particular card and what is the name of the card holder. On the card holder, what are the name is there, just specify the name. You are just providing the credit card details here, but that doesn't mean that there is an amount will be detected. No, there is no amount will be detected. There is no amount will be detected here. We are just providing the basic information of the credit card. And then billing address. Whatever the previous screen, in the step 2, you have provided the address, the same address it will display here. In case if you wanted to have a different address for the billing, then you can provide the new address. Once you specify these all information, verify and continue step 3 to 5. So third screen is completed. First screen is a password. Second screen is whatever the contact information is their contact information. And the third screen is billing information. Third screen is billing information. Now click on, let's go to the step 4. Step 4 is, now here specify the country region, whatever you have specified in the second screen. In the second screen, now let me go back to the second screen. Now in the second screen, we have provided the country or a region. So whatever the country or regions are there, so please provide the same details in the step 4 also. Step 4, provide the mobile phone number and whatever the country or region is there and the security check. So this is just a confirmation of your identity. Confirmation of your identity. In case if you provide the incorrect information, it will not accept. It will not accept. So you need to provide the country region, then provide the phone number, and then specify the character shown above. Just specify it, click on it, send button, send SMS. So you will be receiving a SMS to the registered number here. Again, one more time, you will be receiving the number verification code. So first verification, it will be received to the email. Second verification, it will receive to the phone. So enter that phone number here and the step 4 is completed. Now the step 5 is the final screen. It will just going to ask you that do you want to go for a basic support free account or a developer support from $29 per month or a business support from $100 per month. So if you are doing it for your own purpose, for a practice, always go with the basic support free. There won't be any amount deduction from your account. It will not deduct any amount. It's a free account. It will be there for 30 days. It will be there for 30 days, and also the 24/7 service will be available for the AWS resources. In case if you have any issues, you can raise it to the AWS support and they will be supporting you. Right, so here click on this complete sign up. Complete sign up. Total we have a 5 is a standard, along with that email verification of the screen, the 2 screens. So total 7 screens are there. If you're able to complete the 7 screens, now you will be able to complete the creating the AWS account. Creating the AWS account. Once you click on this complete sign up, then finally you will be able to see this screen. Congratulations, thank you for signing up with the AWS. Now click on this, go to the AWS Management Console. Click on, go to the AWS Management Console. Once you click on this AWS Management Console, then you will be able to see the starting screen of this AWS Management Console is, this is how you will be able to see. This is how you will be able to see. So initially, it won't be displayed anything. Welcome to AWS. It will display this all information, AWS health, cost and usage, what are the recently viewed, everything it is going to display. So I have already created my account by giving the credit card details, and there is no amount was not detected. It was not detected the amount. So this is the screen initially you will see. This is the first screen of it. So if you look at the first screen, on the first screen, it says here AWS. In the AWS, this is kind of an app launcher of the services. We are on the services application, and here your details, what are the profile or everything will be available. Here it is available. And this is the stock details. And if you need any help, you can click on this help. And if there are any alerts, you can click on this alert. And this is the recently viewed information, and in the welcome to AWS, if you wanted to know any more information in the AWS, this is a just kind of the guide. It is just kind of the guidance or a knowledge article. What are things we can do it in the AWS, those all we can do. And the AWS health, so how is the health of AWS? So right now there are no open issues, no schedule changes, no other notification, everything is perfectly fine. And if there is anything cost related or a usage, any information, you can see here the cost related or usage information. Usage information. Now, so this is the Cloud Shell. So this is basically Cloud Shell. So if you click on this, it is going to show you the Cloud Shell. Right. So this is basically for the developers in case if they wanted to do anything, they wanted to write a code or anything in the AWS, you can click on this Cloud Shell and you can write the code. Right. So normal command prompt, it's similar like a command prompt. Now that's all about the first screen of the AWS. The first screen of the AWS. Now, we are done with the setting up the AWS account. So far, we have just implemented the creating the AWS account. Now, after creating the AWS account, what is the next step? Next step is I need to create a bucket. I need to create a bucket in the AWS. Now, in order to create a bucket in the AWS, either click on a service. Right inside this service, all services, you can find here whatever is available, or else in the search, if you search S3, search S3. Now, as soon as you search S3, all the related services related to the S3, it will give you all the information. S3 Glacier, AWS Node Family, AWS Transfer Family, AWS S3 File Gateway. Right, so we have a different S3 buckets are there. Different S3 buckets are there. So right now we are going with the basic one, which is called as a S3. The basic one, which is called as a S3. Click on this S3. Click on this S3. Now, once you click on this S3, we came to the Amazon S3. This is for the storage. Amazon S3 is for the storage. we store or retrieve any amount of data from anywhere. The main use of a Amazon S3 is for a storage. Either it will store or retrieve the data from anywhere, any system that could be Salesforce or any other things. It will retrieve the data and it will store it into the Amazon S3. Right here, our team members also can use the Amazon S3. Now, this is all about the Amazon S3 is an object storage service that offers industry-leading scalability and data visibility, security, and the performance. Security and the performance. Now, if you wanted to see more details about the S3, you can play on this. But right now, we are creating the S3 bucket. So, in order to create this, I have an option here, create a bucket. Create bucket is the option, right? So, I'm going to click on this create a bucket. Now, when I click on a create a bucket, if you see the path, I am into the Amazon S3, Amazon S3, and the next one is a buckets, and then I came to the page called create a bucket. And in the create a bucket, I have a couple of information here. The first one, which is talking about the general configuration. The first one, which is talking about the general configuration. And then the next one is about the object ownership. Who is the owner of this object? Whatever the object I am creating it. Similarly, in the Salesforce, we have a how to create a custom object, right? Same thing, the way we are creating the custom object in Amazon S3 also, I need to create an object. So whenever I create a S3 bucket object, who is the owner of this? And do you wanted to block the public access settings for this bucket, or how do you wanted to follow all the security permission settings? Everything will be there. Everything will be there. Now here bucket versioning. So bucket versioning is nothing but, so if you wanted to have this bucket enable or a disable or a tag, if you wanted to have a tag or a default encryption, these all about the permission setting. These all about the permission settings. Right? So S3 is basically, so simple storage service. It's a simple storage service. Basically, S3 is used for the storage. S3 is used for the storage. Easy way, if you want easy way to handle the storage, then you go for simple storage service. Simple storage service, which is nothing but a S3. If you want in the easy way to handle any kind of a storage into the Amazon, then you will go for a simple storage, and this is the service that is provided by the Amazon. This is the service provided by the Amazon. Now I'm going to create a S3 bucket. Bucket is nothing but a, assume that I'm just creating a object. I'm just creating a object into the Amazon. Now here bucket name is, let's say that we are creating it. Let's say Swapna IT. Now here AWS region. Now you can go for any region. We have a different regions like we have in the Salesforce, right? We have a different regions. EMEA, right? Americas, Middle East, whatever we have. Similarly, in the AWS also we have a regions, United States, Africa, Asia Pacific, or Europe or Middle East, whatever is there, you can select it. So the one which is I'm going to select it right now is US East Let's select the first one, and Virginia, US, East 1. So I'm selecting the first one, US East. And if you want to choose any bucket, copy setting from the existing bucket. If you wanted to choose any existing bucket, you can choose it. Now I'm going to go for a default setting here. I'm going to go for default settings. So I just added the bucket name AWS, rest all the access, permission set, everything, whatever the Salesforce, whatever it is having it, I'll be going with. By default, whatever the options are there, I'll go with and click on the create bucket. Click on this create bucket. Okay, sorry. So bucket name should not contain any capital letters, uppercase. So let's make it as a small, create a bucket. Now click on the create bucket. It's based on the which are the country. Now, whenever you are creating the Salesforce account, how do you choose your region? Now, for example, you are creating the developer edition. You are creating the developer edition. When you are creating the developer edition, how do you choose it? So, for example, if I go to the Salesforce and let's go to the Salesforce. And in the Salesforce, let's go to the company information. Let's go to the company information. Company information. Right, so if you go to the Salesforce services, how Salesforce is going to choose which region? Where is the region here? Region is here. How Salesforce is going to choose it? Now, whenever the Salesforce account is created, how do you know that where is your instance? How do you know that where is your instance? Which instance is it? Right? So basically, wherever the client is there, they will specify that post code or a pin code, whatever it is there. Similarly, how we have in the Salesforce. So for example, Salesforce in the US, so they will choose a US related region. If I'm in India, then I'll choose the region which is related to the Asia Pacific. So I'll be creating the AP19. AP19. So any of this instance will be created. Right now, I have created the AP16, so which is a India, right? So based on your PIN code, postal code, Salesforce is going to choose the region. Similarly, in the AWS also, wherever your clients are there, wherever your client. So for example, I'm implementing an application for a Volkswagen. Whenever the Volkswagen site is open, I wanted to show all the images of car. All the images of car. So Volkswagen is there in Australia and different places we have it, right? So wherever the client is there, we will specify that the main wherever the client is allocated, that specific region is selected. That specific region is selected. Same concept of Salesforce. There is nothing different from the Salesforce and AWS S3. Now AWS S3 is created here. AWS S3 is created, which is Swapna IT, and this is the region access. I have specified access. I did not touch anything for now because I did not want to make it any private. And when it is created, July 9th, today it is created, and this is the time. Now I have a one bucket. Now if I open this bucket, so when I open this bucket, so here is the object details. This is the object details. Right now, I do not have any files here. Right now, I do not have any files. And then what is this bucket properties? In case later, if you wanted to modify anything related to the bucket, you can update here properties. Similarly, permissions, if you wanted to change the permission, right now I have given for it, everybody can access here. But tomorrow, if you want to make it as a private, then you can change here to the private. Metrics, if in case if you wanted to see how the upload or how the data is there in the object, all the metrics you can see. And also you can see the management. How is the life cycle rules, replication rules, right? Inventory configuration. This is everything is about the object. And then finally, access point. Access point in case if you wanted to have a different access. So it is Amazon S3 access point simplifies the managing data access at a scale of the shared data set in the S3. Access points are named network endpoints that are attached to the buckets that you can use it to perform the S3 object operations. S3 object operations. This is about the S3 bucket, right? Now we are done with creating the bucket. We are done with creating the bucket. We clicked on the create a bucket button on the Amazon S3. And then we created the bucket. Second step is completed. First step is Amazon account creation. Second step is S3 bucket. Now we have created the S3 bucket. Now the third step which we need is I need to generate an access key. I need to get the access key and a security key from the Salesforce. Now if I go to the Amazon S3, now I need to create a security. That means authentication key that I need to generate it. Authentication key that I need to generate it for this one. Now, in order to generate an authentication, click on your profile. Click on your profile. So there is a available which is a security credentials. Security credentials. Click on that security credentials. Security credentials. So once you click on it, security credentials. Now here you have an access key. Below you have an access key. Right, access key is available. Create an access key. Now we click on the access key here, create an access key. So it is just the alternatives of the root user access. I understand, create an access. Now this is the access key is created. This is the access key is created. In case if you wanted to download this access key, you can click on this download.csv file. You can click on download.csv file. Now access key is generated. Let me open that CSV file. So once the CSV file is generated, now here it is this is the access key ID, and the next one is that this is another some ID. So but we need the access key. This is the access key, and this is the secret access key. One is access key and the second one is secret access key. Two things which are generated. Access key is here, security access key is here. Now I have an access key and both the keys are generated. Secret key, access key is generated. Now third step is completed. Now the time is how to use my Amazon S3 in the Salesforce. The next one is how to use Amazon S3 into the Salesforce. Now for that, so basically before I go to the Salesforce, we need to understand the API documentation of the Amazon. API documentation of the Amazon. What are things which we need to implement? Now let's go back to the S3. Now if I wanted to know the API documentation, go back to the Amazon S3. In the Amazon S3, you have the resources which is say API references. API references. Now click on the document, it will open up the API resources. So this is a REST API documentation. This is REST API documentation. In this documentation, everything is clearly mentioned here. Everything is clearly mentioned. What is the action, right? How can I do that? Now, in the action, I'm interested in the basic one, which is a simple one, which is the Amazon S3. What are we going to do? We are going to put the file into the Amazon S3 bucket. So basically, my REST, I'm going to use the REST here, which is a put method. In the Amazon, I'm going to create a record in the S3 bucket. I'll retrieve it from the Salesforce and I'll create it in the S3 bucket. So which is nothing but a put. Either I'm creating it or possible that I might be updating it. I might be updating it. So here you have different things. Create a bucket. Create a bucket. So this is for the create a bucket, this one. And similarly, if you want to delete, you have a delete bucket. And if you want to get the details from the S3 bucket, so this is the get. Now, right now, I'm going to look at for the put bucket. Right, so here we have a put bucket. Now put bucket ACL, now which I have already opened here. So this is put object. Now, when I go to this put object, so basically if you wanted to put the PDF file, if you want to place the PDF file. If I wanted to place the PDF file, so what are things I need to do? Now here they have specified in the real time, if you want to implement any integration, the first step is you need to go through your complete documentation. Okay, right now we will not be going through the complete documentation, but in the real time, what we have to do, at least it will take 1-2 days in order to go through this documentation, Now here it is saying that, let me show you the main one. Now, the request syntax. So this is the request that we have to send. In the request, I need to send the key, HTTP, host name, and content description, content encoding. These are the header, content language, content length, content type. I need to specify these header into the request. Whenever I'm sending the request from the Salesforce, I need to make sure that these all data is available. Right? Then URL request parameters. What are the parameters that I need to send? Cache control, content disposition, content encoding, content language, length, right? Content type, expiry key. These are the different keywords which I need to specify. And when I send the request, and here is the response. We will receive it in the 200 success. And this is the expiration. It will also give you the expiration. What kind of a checksum and version ID, right? So it will give you the some IDs. It will be generated whether the bucket is enabled or not. So this is the response we are going to receive it. Example for this. So for example, if I'm uploading here, so when I'm uploading here, authorization is needed, content type, content length, these all information is needed. Host is also I need to generate it. Once I send sample response, so like this, I'll be receiving the sample response. So 200 is okay, continue. And these are the details, there is a ID gets generated. So similarly, in the Salesforce, whenever the record is created, there is a 18-digit or a 15-digit unique ID gets generated. Similarly, in the AWS S3 bucket also, whenever the record is created, there is a unique ID gets generated. Right, so, and this is a expiration rule, version enabled, we have a different responses are there. We have different responses are there. Now, let's go ahead and implement. Now, this is the documentation. This is the documentation. Now, what I'll do is, in the next step, what we are going to do is we are going to implement Apex class. We are going to implement a Apex class. Now, this Apex class, whatever we are going to implement a Apex class, basically in that Apex class, I need a couple of things. Now, whenever we are calling the request, whenever we are sending the request, I need to have an access key, which we have already generated, and the secret key, which we have already generated. Secret key, these two are needed. And in the S3 bucket, like whatever we have created the bucket, this is the S3 bucket, right? What are the bucket which we have created? I can create a multiple buckets. I can create a multiple buckets. I can keep on creating the multiple buckets. So that means we need to know that which bucket are we storing this image or a file or a PDF, whatever the data is there, which bucket am I storing it? So bucket name I need to know. Bucket name I need to know. And then host details. What is the host? Who is the host of this? Host is as it is like a S3 dot. It is S3 dot Amazon.com, Amazon AWS.com. So here it is S3.console it says, but usually S3 dot Amazon AWS. S3 dot Amazon AWS.com. And which method am I going to do? Method is put method I'm going to do. Method is put method I'm going to do. These are the main. If I have these information, I can call the Apex class, and then I can execute the Apex class. So main thing which I need is access key, secret key, bucket name, host, and the method. These five are very important in order to send the details from the Salesforce. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to implement the Apex class. File, new Apex class. Let's say that I'm going to implement a AWS file. Let's say file upload to AWS S3. Or what we can do is, if you want to implement a common, then you can say AWS S3 utility. AWS S3 utility. And this is the Apex class name. Now, the first thing which I need is, whenever I'm calling the Apex class, I need to pass all these details. I need to pass all these details. That means while executing the class, I need to pass the keys. Whatever the keys are available, those keys I need to pass it. those keys, I need to pass it. That means I'll be creating the constructor here, public, whatever the class name is, it's the same class name. And here I need the information of access key, string key, and also I need a string secret key, and then bucket name, string, whatever the bucket name is there, and we'll be passing the string method, what is the method that we are passing it, and finally we need to provide the host name. These are the parameters the class is going to expect. Whenever I get this information, I need to store this information into the class. I need to store this key equal to somewhere I need to store the information. So in order to store the information, I'll create a public. I'll create a wrapper here, string AWS key. Instead of creating a wrapper, what I'll do is I'll just create a variables. So public string AWS key to store the key. And let me create a one more variable which is called as a public. I need to store the secret key. So in order to store the secret key, string AWS secret. And also I need to store the bucket name, public string bucket name. And what else we have? Method, public string method name, and the host name, public string host name. Okay. Now, from the class, whatever we are receiving it, what I'll do is I'll take this AWS key equal to whatever the key that I'm receiving it from the either anonymous window or wherever we are calling it, I'll be setting it to this variables. And the bucket name equal to secret, and then we have a method name equal to, if I say method, it might think it is a method. I'll say here empty, and then host name equal to host. Perfect. So whenever we are calling this AWS utility, I'm going to pass these variables which are needed in order to execute this, so that I will be storing into the local variable. Whatever the Apex class variables are there, in that variable, I'm going to store the details. Now the next thing is that after this, what I need to do, I need to create a authentication header. Create authentication header. Now, once I create an authentication header, that means once I have an authentication is done, then finally what I'll be implementing is I'll be implementing whatever the uploaded documentation is there. Right? So wherever it is uploaded, the documentation, I'll retrieve it and I'll send it to the AWS S3. Now, in between, we might have to create a few more methods. Now, I'll tell you what are those methods. So first, let's create an authentication. Let's create authentication. Now, let's say here, public string. Now, let's give the method name, create auth header. Create an auth header. Now, what I need to implement in this auth header, right? So basically, whatever the header we have. Now, if I go to the Salesforce S3 put object, So whatever this header, at least this part, in this part, we have to implement some kind of a, whatever this put key or post, these all are there, right? So that I need to implement it, that I need to implement. Now, in order to implement that, right, in order to implement that, what I'll be doing is, in the Salesforce, we have some concept which is called as a crypto class. In AWS, in Salesforce, we have a crypto class. Now, this crypto class is basically, it's a crypto class is provided by the Salesforce. Inside this crypto class, we have a different methods are available. Different methods are available. This class is in case if you wanted to decrypt or encrypt, or if you wanted to use it, generate a MAC, if you want to generate a MAC information, right? So this generate a MAC is basically, what are the messages there? It will generate it into the message authentication code. Message authentication code for the input string using the private key. And here we have a different algorithm names like a HMA has SHA1, right? Or HMA SHA256. These are the standard algorithm names. These are the standard algorithm names. So what we can do is crypto.generate MAC. I can provide that HMA SHA256, whatever it is there. For AWS, it is a HMACSH1. So this is the one. The second one is for the AWS. Right, so which are the one you wanted, you can use it. It's based on the requirement. Now, if you use this, the standard one, you can use that 256. You can use a 256 or a 12 or a 1 or a MD5 or MD5, which are the one you can use it. So right now we are using here 256. Now, what are this message is there, right? This message is stored into the SART. And then from that, we are converting into the block file. We are converting into the block file. Why we need this generate MAC? Because whenever you are uploading a data, whenever you are generating a file, now we have seen in our previous session, in my Apex classes, whenever we are sending an email with the attachment from the Apex class, in using the Apex class, whenever we are sending an email with the attachment, what we have done, we have taken the file, that file we have converted into the block. We have converted into the block, and then we have attached to the email. Then once it is attached, whenever it is sending, Salesforce will take that block file and it will decode that file and send it to the actual file to the sales, whoever is a customer is there, it will send it, right? So similarly, the same concept we are going to do it here also. Now let's go to the developer console. Now, in order to create an authentication here, now what else I needed? I need which file we are uploading it. Which file we are uploading it. There are different type of files are there. CSV file, image file, JPG file, PDF file. So in the create auth header, I need to know that which type of a file I am uploading it. So for that, I'll take here content type. Content type is the parameter. And what is the file name? What is the file name? So I'll take this string file name. And along with this, I'm going to know that what is the date, which date we are uploading the file. Whenever any PDF is getting generated, you might have seen that PDF name is, it will comes as a PDF name. After that, it will give you the date of the, when the PDF is got implemented or it is converted from the Word to the PDF, there is a date gets attached. So similarly, in the here also create authentication, I need the formatted date string, and along with this, I might need what is the extension of the file? What is the extension of the file? File extension. File extension. Now, I think that's all. There is no issue here. Let's see. Let me save this. Missing a string. Where it is missing string. Missing a return type. Okay. So let's give a return null. For now, let's say return null. We can't say. Okay, perfectly fine. Now here, content type. Content type, I need to know that what is the type of a file. What is the type of a file? Which file it is, whether it is a CSV file, whether it is a image file, or what type of a file it is, we should be knowing it, right? So in order to know that, now how can system will identify, how my Apex code will identify which type of a file that I have uploaded. Developer knows what is the file they have uploaded. Salesforce knows that which file they have uploaded, which file the developer has uploaded. But how my code will know that which file is there in the nodes and attachment, or which file is uploaded? In order to know that, now let's go to the Google. Now we have something called, there is a common MIME types, common in MIME types in Salesforce. No, this is in the lightning hour. So if it is a JSON format, like a application/JSON, if it is a portable PDF format, if it is a portable PDF format, then you can go with here. Or if you wanted to this is a audio, this is a video, image, font, plain text, markdown, zip file, whatever is there, we have it. All these things. Similarly, the same thing which is we have it in the HTTP. Let me search. In the HTTP also we have. Now in the HTTP, like it is clearly mentioned that if it is a .csv file, text CSV, if it is a doc file, application/MS Word, if it is a docx, then it is a application/ this some format is there. So we need to specify these formats, right? We need to specify these formats. Now, whether it is a PDF, if it is a PDF, this is the format. Everything is provided in the HTTP guidance. So you can go through this HTTP. Now here, these are the common MIME types. Now, let me use this. So right now I need to implement a method to understand, to make the Salesforce to understand which type of file that I have uploaded, which type of file which I have uploaded. So I'll be creating the another method here, public string content type, because I'll be returning what type of file it is. Now in this content type, I'll accept the file type string, file type. Now, we have a different type of file, CSV, docs, web, video, different things are there. So based on the file, I should be returning the something. I should be returning the whatever the MIME type are there, that type I need to return to the another method. So either I can do the if else condition, right? If else, if else, if else, if else, or I can go with the switch condition. Switch on whatever the file type is that is passed here. Now here I have a file type. I'll copy that file type dot, everything let's convert into the lowercase, and then I have a different things. When it is a CSV file, when it is CSV file, I wanted to return, let's say something. Now when it is a, for example, docx file, then I wanted to return something. Similarly, I have a when it is a wave, right? So I wanted to return something here. And similarly, if it is a PNG, so similarly we have a PNG, and also we have a PDF. Now if it is a PDF, now let's go here, where is the PDF? If it is a PDF, I'll say application/PDF. Let's copy this application/PDF. I'm going to return application.pdf. If it is a PNG, then I'm going to return image/png. Image/png. If it is a WAV, then I have a add audio/WAV. Return audio/WAV. Similarly, if it is a docx, it is a documentation. So this is the documentation. I'll copy this. Now this is the documentation. Application/vnd.open XML, whatever the format is there, that's the format. Similarly, I have a CSV file. CSV file we are going to return .csv. Right, you can take a CSV, this one text/CSV. Now, in case if you provide a different one here, in case, for example, here you have written the CSV, but the referral you have given as a referral you have given, for example, let's take XLS. For example, you have given XLS instead of CSV file, you have provided here this one. So what will happen? It will, though you have uploaded the CSV file, it will convert or it will return into the Excel format. It will return into the Excel. Right. So this is the to understand the code, to understand my code. String, we are returning everything. Right, everywhere we are returning. This is the return statement. It's a return no. Okay, so this is for code to understand what type of a file I am receiving it whenever I have uploaded into the Salesforce. That's that method. Now that is done. Now next, let's go ahead and create an authentication. Now let's declare a variable auth. Now what I'm going to implement here is whatever I have, like a method name, whatever the method name and whatever the content type, formatted date string, whatever we are receiving here, I'm combine all this into the string. So string, let's say string to sign. string to sign equal to. Now I'm going to take the method name. So that method name, if I wanted to call this, I can call directly method name plus. Now in case in between I need a line break because this is the complete string which I am implementing it. Now let me show you here. Then I have it. Let's give the break. And then plus, I'm going to add a content type. And also I'm going to add a /n and formatted date string. Formatted date string plus. Now next one is what are the bucket name is there, right? So bucket name. Next we have a bucket name. String. Right, so bucket name. Whatever the bucket name is there, let's put the bucket name. And after that, I'm going to add a whatever the file name is there. File name. Let's put a slash and then plus file name. File name dot let's convert everything to be lowercase. Plus whatever the data is there. Now, for example, I'm going to add here dot file extension. Now, what I'm going to build it here is we have in this what are the file extension, this URL is there, right? So there is a URL which will have. Now I'll show you that. We'll debug and I'll show you that. Plus, now file extension, file name, and then I have a file extension dot to lowercase. This is the complete string which we have built it. Let's see if there is any error on this. Okay. Now that is the complete string which we have built it. Now let me do one thing. Let me execute this method and I'll show you that what we have implemented here. Right, so create a auth. But here I need to provide the file name, formatted data, file extension. This file name, formatted date string, file extension, content type, I need to get it from the Salesforce. So hold on for that. So first let's implement, then I'll show you that. And once we have the information, the next thing, whatever this complete string is there, that complete string I'll convert into the block. But before that, let me put the system.debug so that you guys can see what is the value that is coming here. String to sign plus string to sign. Then I'm going to convert all the data into the block. In order to convert the data into the block, as I have discussed, we are going to use the crypto.generate map. And here, instead of a 256, which I'm going to use it 1. Right? So this is the one, and then we have a block dot value of. Now I'm going to pass all the string values to here. Whatever the string that we have implemented, all the string I'll be passing it. Then along with this, generate mag will have. So algorithm, what is the input and the private key I need to pass it. Algorithm name is, I have passed this, and the block input is whatever the string that we have implemented, that string we have passed it. What is the private key? Private key is nothing but a secret key. So I'm going to pass the secret key block dot value of, let's say this dot, I have a AWS secret. AWS secret and then close this. Right, so this is the one. Now let me use this dot method name, this dot bucket. We are calling it from the main Apex class. AWS secret is not available. Let's say it should be fine. Okay. No, perfect. Now once we are done this everything, the map is available. This map we are going to encode into the base 64. Base 64 encode. I'm going to encode this. So encode util encoding util dot. I'm going to use encode of this block. Whatever the map encode is there, I'm going to encode this, and final value after encoding this, final value will be stored into the one string. And this information we will store it into the or equal to what is the information? This is the AWS plus space plus, then I'm going to use the AWS key plus AWS key right. Then we are going to go for colon. We have a whatever the string is there. I'm using that string. Now finally, I'll return this. This is the header. Now let me print this value also. What is the auth? We are getting it here. Perfect. This is the authentication header. Now the next step is this is the final method which we have a upload document. Final step is we have to upload a document. Now whatever the document I uploaded here, for example, I'm uploading the documentation here. Let's say sample PDF. I'm uploading the sample PDF. Whenever we upload a sample PDF, where is the data that gets stored? Where is the data that gets stored? Now let me show you that in the developer console. Let's go to the file, open. Object is called as a, we have an object content document link. This is the object content document link ID, link entity ID, document visibility, all this information, and just query it. Now if I click on a query, implementation restriction requires the filter signal ID. Okay, let me provide this ID. Let's say where I'm going to provide the link entity ID, where link entity ID equal to, this is the ID, click on execute. Now, today only we have uploaded this. This is the content document ID. This is the linked ID. Linked entity ID is basically which object, which record. Which object, which record is the linked entity ID. Actual documentation ID is this one. And the content document ID share type is a V. We have a different type of a share. Now here it is a visibility all users visible, and system mode date stamp is today. Today it is uploaded. So this is the all the data, all the linked items or nodes and attachment, everything can be stored here. Everything can be stored here. Now if I try to upload another one, click on a view all. Now I'm going to upload another file. Again, one more time uploading the sample. Click on done. Now I have it, two files are there. Now if I click on the query refresh again, now it is going to show me the another one, which is going to show me the another one. So basically all the documentations are stored inside the content document link. Content document link. Let me delete the duplicate one. Now I'm going to query this content document link. Copy. Now let's implement a method. Let's say public void. Let's say this is content document link. For this content document link, somebody has to provide the record ID here. Somebody has to provide the record ID. That record ID will be filtered in this. Now here list of what are the object equal to, then we have it, this link. Whatever this query is there, I'm pasting that query, link entity ID colon record ID. Link entity ID colon record ID. Now I'll copy this object name. Let's put it here, and the variable name is, let's say, content link. This is the list, content link list. Now I have the content link list. Now this content link list, I'll look through this. I'll look through the content link list. Now the object name, and the link column, content link list. And look through this. Now what I'll do is, whatever the ID is their content document ID, this ID I'll store it into the one set collection. One set collection, I'm going to store it. Set of ID. Let's say document ID set equal to new set of ID. Now I'm going to store into the this collection set dot add, and whatever this link is, the link dot content document ID. Content document ID. Now I'm storing all the content document ID, which is nothing but the ID which is generated, the unique ID that I'm storing it here. I'm storing the unique ID. Now based on this ID, what I can do is I can find the version of it. Based on this ID, I can find the version of it. All the content versions are stored into the different object. Let me show you. File open. Now we have another one, content version. Now click on open. Now here I'm going to take content ID, content version data. Version data. Content version data, and let's take a title also, and also we have a content document ID query, where I'm going to pass this ID wherever the content document ID is equal to this one. Now if I click on execute, now it is going to give me the version ID. Why it is not giving me the any data here? We have provided the content document ID. Refresh the grid. Okay, so this is the latest one. Let me take this. Execute. Now here is the data which is coming. The data which is there. Now also I can take there is a another variable. It has a file extension. So I'll add a file extension. Because these things which are needed for the in order to authorize file extension. Click on execute. Now it says that PDF sample title name. This is the version data and this is the content document ID. Now this is exactly I'm going to take the query. Take the query of this. Now I need to query this data. Okay. In this class, once I have this content document ID, all the documents IDs I'm storing it here. Then again, I'll query one more object list of content version, list of content version. And let's say the name of this is C version. Now, where condition, where equal to, I'm going to pass this set collection. Whatever the set collection is there, that set collection, I'm going to pass it here. Colon. Yes. Perfect. No, any errors here? No errors. Now, what I'll do is I'll look through this content version. I'll look through the content version for content version. Now, let's say here attach colon C version. Now, what else I needed from this? I needed version data. Version data. So this file path I needed. What are the file path is there? That file path I needed. So version data I needed. So version data I'll store it into the. That is basically it's a the data is complete PDF body. The what are the content is there in the PDF? The complete body will be there. So string, let's say attachment body equal to encoding util dot base encode util dot base 64 encode. And here I'm going to pass that what are the blob is there version data. Version data. This I'll be passing it as a attached dot version data. Attached dot version data. Similarly, I need to take the title. I need to take title attached dot title. With this attached dot title, I'm going to store it in one string. String file name. String file name equal to attached dot title. String file name equal to attached dot title. Then I'll take the file extension. Version data title, then file extension. Now file extension, that is basically it's a content type. String dot string. This is a content type. Now file extension is going to say PDF. But if it is a PDF, how should my code should understand? So I need to call this method. If it is a PDF, it will return the application slash PDF. So content type equal to what are the method is there? There is content type. There the file type I'm going to pass it. File type is which is a file extension. Attached dot file extension. Now we are done with collecting all the information from the Salesforce. We are done with collecting all the information from Salesforce. Now here it is ending. Now what I'll be doing is I need to start implementing the HTTP request by building the endpoint. By building the endpoint, I need to start implementing the HTTP. Now, what else I need here? HTTP request. And HTTP response. These three things are needed in the HTTP. Let's simply specify HTTP dot h equal to new HTTP. And then I need to build a request. HTTP request. REQ equal to new HTTP request. No. Once this is done on the REQ dot, I need to set the method. Set method. What is my method? Method is I'm passing it from the outside, which is a method in this one. So let's call it this dot method name. And then request dot, I need to set the endpoint. Set endpoint. Endpoint, I need to build this endpoint. Now let's go ahead and build this endpoint. String endpoint equal to. No, my endpoint is so endpoint, I need to build it. Okay, so my endpoint is usually it will be https colon slash the bucket name S3 dot bucket name Swapna ID, and then dot whatever the host name is there S3 dot Amazon AWS.com, and then we'll have a file name. Whatever the file name is there, that file name I need to provide it. File name. If you want, you can provide it into the lowercase. And then along with the file name, we need to provide the file extension. File name dot file extension. File name dot file extension. So this is the entire flow we have to. This is the endpoint. Now let's go to the Salesforce. Now my endpoint, I need to get the bucket name. Before that, https colon slash this dot I have a bucket name. Copy the bucket name. This dot bucket name. Then plus I need to provide the host name. So this dot host name. Copy the host name. Plus we are done with the base URL. Now the next thing is I need to pass the file name. Plus file name dot lowercase plus along with this I need to provide the file extension. I need to provide file extension. Now file extension is there. Attach dot file extension. Dot to lowercase. This is the endpoint. Let me print the endpoint. System.debug endpoint system.debug endpoint. Now I have an endpoint which is implemented. The next thing is that I need to set the headers. Header, I need a content. Header, I need a header which we need host. I need a host and I need a content length. And content type. This is also a header which I need to implement. Content type. And then what else we have? Content length, the date I need to provide it, date, and also I need to provide the ACL, date ACL, and also I need to provide the connection. So these are the headers which I need to implement. So set request dot set header. Set header. Inside the header, I need to provide this host. So my host is basically it should be bucket name dot. Whatever the bucket name is there, my bucket dot S3 region dot Amazon AWS. This is the bucket name. So which is my bucket name and the host name. Now it will be come on this dot bucket name dot plus this dot host name. That's about the header, and then request dot set header. And here it is a content length. That's the content length. Content length is whatever the body length. So this body version data is there. I'm going to pass that. Content length is string dot value of attachment body dot length. Whatever the length is there, we need to provide that length. And next is the content type. Content type. Now, what are the content type is? The content type is text plain. So content type is whatever I have a content type, I'm going to provide that content type. And the connection, let's say we need to keep it alive. Connection, keep it alive. And then date, we have a formatted date string. So I'll pass it here, formatted date string. And the last one is a ACL. The ACL is just a public array. Okay. We are done with all the information here. Formatted date string, we have not taken the formatted date string. Now let's take a string. Formatted date string equal to whatever the today's time is there, today's date time. So date time dot now dot, let's take it as a format GMT. Now this we will be taking into EEGDMMYY, and also minutes, hours, minutes, seconds. Skip this. Perfect. So we have the data. Any other issues? Perfect. Now the next one is whatever the attachment body is there, whatever this body. Now we are done with all the requests. Now we have to take the actual file. We need to take the actual file and convert into the block, PDF log equal to encoding UTL dot base64 decode. Let's decode it and then pass this to the as a body. REQ dot set body, and here we are going to pass. This is not the simple one. This is the basically it's a PDF. So set body as a block. Now we are passing here PDF block. Okay. So we are done with header, host, content length, content type, connection, date, ACL. And another thing which we have to do in the header is authorization. We need to implement the authorization. So that is missing here. So let's add it. REQ dot set header. Key is a authorization. Now in this authorization, what we are going to do is whatever we have implemented is create a authorization header. We are going to call that create a authorization header, and we are going to pass the content type. First parameter is a content type, and the second parameter is file name. Whatever the file name is there, we are going to pass the file name. And the third one is formatted date string file extension. Now here we are going to pass the formatted date string. And the next one is file extension. File extension is attached.file extension. All the data we need to pass it to the create authorization method. Method does not exist. Content type, file name.
Swapna, I think that is saying about blob method. Set body as a blob, I think.
Or it is a set, right? Set body as a blob. That's right. And the next one is we need to send the information, send the data to the AWS. Now, whatever we are receiving the response, we are going to receive the response into the HTTP response. We are going to receive the data and store it into the HTTP response res equal to h.send request. Then finally, I'm going to print system.debug res plus res dot. Let's get the status code. No, this is done. Hopefully it should work. Now let me do one thing. Let me call it from the anonymous. You can do it from the flow or a trigger or wherever you wanted to call, you can call it. For the time being, I'm going to call it from the here. So I'll say here, whatever the key is there, string key equal to. Now my key is in. Now let me open the key. Where is the key? So key is this one. And then we have it. Let's say this is a string. Next one is a string. Secret equal to. What is my secret number? Let's copy this. And then string. Let's say bucket. Bucket name is Swapna ID. And the next one is a string host. Host equal to S3 dot Amazon AWS.com. And then we have a string method equal to, we are going to go for a put method. This is done. Now the next step is we are going to call the class AWS S3 utility service equal to new AWS utility. Now here we are going to pass the key, secret, bucket, and then host, and finally method. String method host. Key, secret, bucket, method, host. Perfect. Now once we are done with, inside this service method, we have a method is called, as a method we have content document link. Content document link. I'm going to pass here the record ID. Let's say I'm going to pass the record ID of this, whatever we have attached, that record ID. Done. Now let me execute this, execute the highlighted one. I need to put it this into the remote side settings. Now we are done with Apex class. Now, next step is we need to create a remote site settings. So let's go to the remote site settings. Click on new remote site settings. Let's say AWS S3. Click on OK. Now, let's go ahead and see. Execute the highlighted one. Now click on your debug. 403 error. String to sign is a port. 403 error. And let's see what is the error. This is the AWS. What are the key is the key. And then colon we have it. Now here runway and the string to sign endpoint. Let me remove the debug. Sample.pdf.
Swapna, I think AWS secret should be little more. I think you might have not copied it properly. Could you check once?
Which one?
Secret.
Secret.
AWS. It should be the long string value, I think. Could you check once?
No, that's all we have, string.
Okay.
Now, if you see where it is wrong, now we are passing the content here. Content, let me print the content. Are we getting the content type properly? Content type is right. Now, endpoint, I have an endpoint. Let's click on it. Debug. Endpoint is a right. This is the endpoint sample PDF. Let me go to the S3 bucket. Now, in this S3 bucket, now Swapna IT, let's open this. Let me see. That is perfectly fine. And URL is right. Developer console s3.amazon aws.com sample, which is right. What is the output of this create authentication? Auth I'm getting the AWS. Right, this is the access key. And then we have it is generated some key here. And since we say, I think there is a problem is here. sh1 is not AWS secret, value of this, method name, content type, which is fine, formatted date string, find this dot bucket name slash file name lowercase file extension. Content type. Create authorization. Okay, so content type, we are not getting the return type here. Whenever I receive it here, am I getting all the information? System.debug, content type, plus content type, and then file name. Perfect, and then formatted date string. And I have a file extension. Let's run again. Debug, execute the highlighted one. I'm getting the endpoint and then content type, file name, formatted file extension, space, application PDF. Okay, then space, I'm getting the formatted date, right? And I'm getting the okay, this entire thing is a 48 line. That is perfectly fine. Simple. Now let me open this endpoint. Let me copy entirely. Sample.pdf. Access is denied. Fine. Request ID, host ID, I'm getting it. Fine, perfectly fine. And it's on S3. Let me upload it here and see whether it is working or not. Upload the file, add the file. Sample, click on open. Now that's totally fine. Sample PDF is uploading it. File is uploaded. We can't close. And this is working fine. What is the problem? Am I able to do the authentication? System.debug. request plus REQ. Click on save. It is on AWS.com sample. What is missing here?
Swapna, I think region.
Sorry,
Region name.
region. Content type, endpoint. Endpoint is this, method is put, host. This is a host, content length. Footer, the attachment body is there, that length of it. Type, content type, connection key, alive, date, formatted date, ACL public date. And we are encoding the base 64. Decode, attachment body. Now we have to do the decode. Right, then create authentication. It's not debug. Is my secret key is right? Security settings. Click on next. Okay, click on sign in. Details. And this is the security key. Actions. We try one more time. Four zero three error. If the bucket is owned by the different account, the request is failed. Am I not owning the reload? I'm not the owner of this. Properties. Copy. Let me put there. Here is an ID. It's publicly available. Key is the right and secret key is the correct. Bucket number is Swapna ID. Let me format this. Let me try this. Execute. Force memory. It's not the right formatted endpoint. There is a small mistake somewhere. I'm doing the small mistake because of that it is happening. Endpoint. ID. Method name. Let's say endpoint is bucket dot slash. Now it should work. Okay, now we have received the 200 response. Let's go to the object. Now let's click on a refresh. Now let me delete this, whatever we have uploaded. Let me delete this. I don't want to delete the object.
No, Swapna, you have to type permanently delete, not S.
Or let me do one thing. Let me rename this file. Let's delete it from here. Delete and let me upload new file. Downloads. Rename sample demo. Now upload the file. Okay, so sample demo open. We have a sample demo, click on done. Now let's go to the developer console. Now we are receiving the 200. Debug, open resource. Now let me click on execute the highlighted one. Okay. Now let's go to the bucket. Let's refresh. Response is 200. I'm able to put that place into the Swapna ID S3. This is the endpoint responses. I'm getting a 200. Now where can I see that?
Swapna, I think inside the Swapna ID we will have the.
All right, inside this Swapna ID. Now there is a file which is created. Perfect. So basically what we have done is I have uploaded the file into the account and then in the developer console. In this class, what we have done is the main method is content document link. Here I am querying the record, the document link, and then I'm storing everything into the one set of ID. From this set of ID, I'm querying the content version, where it is a content ID equal to this and is latest equal to true. If it is a latest equal to true, then I'm getting it. Then whatever this content version is, whatever the documents are there, I'm loading these documents here, looping through this document. From this document, whatever the version data is there, the data I'm storing into the encoding it and storing into the one string. Because finally, when I'm sending the request to the AWS. That time I'm again decoding it. Again, I'm decoding it. So initially I'll be encoding it, placing it to the attachment body. This is just to know that we are uploading today only. This is just a today's date. And what are the file names? The title name is that we are converting here file name. Content type, what are the file extension is there, whether it is a PDF. If it is a PDF, content type should be the application./PDF. That is a content type. And then finally, I'm going to build the endpoint. Endpoint is always start with the bucket. Dot, what are the host name is there? That is a host name. And file name dot file extension. And during the request, we need to send a couple of method endpoint header. Header is few things which are important. Host is the must, because in the host I need to pass the which bucket and the host name. What is the length of body? Encoding, whether it is a UTF-8 or which one we are encoding it. And content type is a content type. Connection is a keep alive. Date equal to formatted date string. ASL equal to public read. So before that we were encoding, we have placed it something else here encode. So that's the reason it was not working. And the set header ACL public read. And whatever the attachment is there, we are decoding and storing it to the one block and sending it as a block. Then finally, when we are doing the authorization, while doing the authorization, I'm calling the method by passing the content type and the file name, formatted and file string. So there I'm implementing the file string. So that file string will have a complete kind of a array method to break, and then content type one break, formatted date break, and this dot bucket name dot post file name file extension. So whatever we are converting into the string, that string I'm taking it as a generating as a mark. Let me add here system.debug string to sign. Similarly, I'll add it here block. Block basically you will not see anything. It's kind of a alphanumeric values. It is alphanumeric values. So what are the actual file is there that will be converted into the some number. So open, click on the execute. And click on the debug. Now this is the string. What are the string is there? It is converting into the block some number. Number it is getting converted because this information we are going to pass into the auth. So whenever this auth is generated, this auth will be generated. AWS space, whatever the key is there, whatever the key I have. So that key, this is the key. Colon, whatever the block is generated, the encoding one, it will add some numbers here. What are the encoding number? This encoding number is that encoding number will be get added like this. So that authentication will be provided to the request, and then we are sending a response. So that's overall. So here few things which we have learned today is content type. What are the content type is there? Different content type. And the second one is crypto. Crypto generate map. So this is basically used for file, image, upload, anything. If you wanted to do the image upload, you can use the crypto. Those are the two things. So that's all for today.